Eric Ambrosino from Ambrosonics LLC, and the innovation continues with my AMB-13P breakout panel, specifically designed by myself for synth players. With the 6 strings, it breaks out all 6 strings so you can multi-process the individual strings, send them into a board, pan them left and right anywhere in the stereo field, or use 6 individual amplifier outputs for complete surround sound of your strings. Very cool sound. In this case, I've got the synth going into my guitar, which is the 13 pin out of the guitar, and then synth out. I'm driving 2 synthesizers. I'm driving the AXON 100 as well as a GR50 simultaneously. And what's happening here is I can power it remotely just from the rack itself if I don't have heads, or I can power it from the individual powers from the units as desired. Another thing it does that's really cool is, as well as driving 2 synthesizer 13 pin inputs with an option board, I can also drive the GR300 with my Nylon 13 pin. So this setup does 13 pin in, 24 pin out. It also takes 24 pin in and 24 pin out, so it can drive, and this is driving all 3 synthesizers. Right now I've got the AXON GR300, sounds like itself. Cutoff frequency and modulation from your guitar here. So that's the key. If you have a GR300, it's running them both together. If I take my mute off here, you'll hear this guitar. So we can drive from a 13 pin, we can drive synth 1 head, synth 2 head, and the GR300 simultaneously. From the GR808, same thing, it's coming in, and you can drive the AXON, the GR50, and of course the original GR300 from the guitar. Using standard 13-pin guitars to drive the old vintage GR300 is kind of neat. It tracks as you'd expect it to. That famous sound. In the guitar as usual. So nylon strings with the GR300, kind of a vintage sound, very unique. So I mentioned my setup. So this is my 13 pin coming out of the guitar. And the 13 pin wire goes directly into the Ambrosonics 13 pin breakout panel. AMB model, AMB-13P. And so it's 13 pin in, and I have the 13 pin out going into the GR50. And what you can't see from the front is another plug that's an additional output of the 13 pin splitter. And that's going through this cable directly into the AXON 100. And then with the guitar cable, I have the GR808 guitar cable going into, again, the panel. And then the output of the panel, on the bottom, you can see the optional breakout board, goes down here to another cable that then plugs directly in to the GR300. Okay, in this setup, as with the nylon string, I also have the 808 driving both synth heads, basically the AXON AX100 as well as the Roland GR50, and of course it's being brought down through an optional board from my AMB-13P breakout panel that goes to the GR300. mix and match both the AXON 100 or a synth head of your choice, along with the GR50. It works with any 13-pin synth brain. So if you have some of the older models, the VG type as well, this basically is a cool blender of sort. So it can take all your 6 guitar strings and bring out the hex strings E, A, D, G, B, E right out on the panel. And then you can send those into 6 different amplifiers or into a mixing board and pan those channels anywhere you want in the stereo field. Really cool sounds. Anyway, it's the Ambrosonics model AMB-13P-3. The -1 of this version is really just 13-pin in, 13-pin out, and it gives you the 6 strings. It doesn't do all the merging options that we have. There's a separate cable you'd have to buy, which is kind of down here. I'll do some close-up pictures in a minute. And the optional board that plugs in here. So when the option board is in here, it takes up 2 rack spaces. In its simplest form, it just takes up a single rack space for a 13-pin in, 13-pin out. I can give you an extra 13-pin merge out, so you can still drive 2 and your six guitar strings. But as soon as you want to bring in the Roland vintage stuff, you need some special cables and the option board. All right, Ambrosonics LLC. The innovation continues. The AMB-13P, there's a -1 and a -3. I have a -2 that's sort of like a BC13 controller replacement, but the -3 does it all anyway, so maybe it's just better to go with a -3. All right, thank you.